Hey everybody, Garcia here, and today we're taking a look at a standalone scenario pack for Arkham Horror the card game. This is the Blob that ate everything. This scenario pack, like many of the other ones that FFG has released for the game in this standalone format, can be played in a normal way with a group of players sitting down at the table attempting to fight this. You can play it just like that. You can also introduce it into a campaign if you want to. Or you can play in the epic multiplayer mode, which is various groups of players sitting down playing and sort of connected between them by in-game mechanisms. I am not going to be covering that mode in this video. For one thing, if you enjoy that, you don't really have a lot of options, so you're probably going to be trying this anyway. I'm going to be focusing on just the game, the way it's played at a table with a couple of players. So the usual way you would play something like this. So the Blob that ate everything here is a story about an extraterrestrial foe with the ability to devour anything and everything in its path. Falls to Earth from outer space, and we are trapped in this town under quarantine trying to defeat this thing, all right? I'm going to be showing you on the table how the game looks set up. I'm going to be explaining a little bit of what's going on, what we are attempting to do. I will be keeping spoilers to a minimum, though. I might show you a couple of cards, but nothing you wouldn't see in the first 5 minutes or so of gameplay, all right? So don't worry about me revealing any agenda or the act deck or anything like that. I'm not going to be showing you anything spoilery. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. We'll come on back after that. I'll tell you what I think of it. So here we have what the game might look like, set up and ready to begin. All of the players are going to begin here at the center, at the crater, and there are many quarantine zones, as well as a few specific locations that might end up in different places than you see here. Our objective is, of course, to eliminate this Subject 8L-08, which, of course, kind of looks like it spells Blob. So I just call it Subject Blob. It's going to have 15 health per player, and this is the normal mode of play, not the massively multiplayer mode of play with multiple groups playing, okay? So we've got here the agenda says the anomaly spreads. You were in the town of Blackwater when the impact event occurred. For several days you investigated the matter until the anomaly emerged and all hell broke loose. Fleeing is no longer an option, as the quarantine still holds and is strictly enforced. The only way you're getting out of here alive is if you can find a way to kill the anomaly, if such a thing is even possible. And then it tells you at the bottom, each location is connected to each location adjacent to it orthogonally. So there will be no movement icons on any of these locations. You can simply travel to anything that is orthogonally adjacent. Like I said, we begin here, and from here, we could move, of course, to the temporary HQ. After that, we could go to this quarantine zone and so on. The creator also begins with 2 clues per player, and we'll pretend we're having a 4-player game here, so we'll have those out there. And then also, you might have up here on the player aid card or the symbols card there, you might begin with some countermeasures. And again, in a game for 2 players, you begin with 1 countermeasure up here. Those are going to be few and far between, and they will have very powerful effects. Such as, for example, right here at the crater, we can take an action and spend 1 countermeasure to deal 3 damage to Subject Blob or a manifold enemy at any location. And then it has a forced ability that says at the end of the round, each investigator at the crater takes 1 damage. So what are we trying to do? Well, we're trying to expose the anomaly right here. Objective, at the start of the round, investigators may spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. And then it says in italics, beware. Advancing will expose the anomaly's weak spot. Be ready for a fight. This is going to take 2 per player, as you see here. So the general flow, I'm not going to really give you any more spoilers than that. We're not taking a look at this deck. We are not looking at anything set aside, and I'm not going to be revealing any more of these. The main flow here is to indeed reveal the anomaly's weakness on the card after this one and try to deal it some damage. And you're basically going to have 1 turn in which you deal it a lot of damage, and then it hides that weakness again. and then you need to achieve some things to have that weakness come back around, and you got one focus turn to deal it a lot of damage. All while trying to, of course, keep the agenda from advancing. So that's the general flow. This has a cyclical nature, this act deck, and you're trying to go through as few cycles as possible before you defeat the subject Blob here, which is, again, 15 damage per player, so 30 right now. As you can tell, this is not a standard-looking card. You will be dealing damage to this from other things that are dealing damage to it. For example, many of the baddies in this game are pieces that broke off of the Blob, and after you defeat them, they have a stat called Blob X. So it might be Blob 2. If you defeat that thing, you put 2 damage, Blob 2 means 2 damage, on the main baddie over here. And that's how you're going to be sneaking damage onto this one, and a few other ways, all right? There's also, based on this cycle here, some other events that might happen, and they are, they will be random from among a few. You'll shuffle up a few cards, draw one, and read a little story that tells you something's going on. Someone got captured. Some location is under threat, that sort of thing. And you need to then go deal with that. It's a nice amount of story that gets introduced in a non-linear way. So you're never sure what you're going to get. Now, the main tricky, weird part of this scenario is the fact that this Blob can consume things. They can devour aspects of the game, aspects of reality, as they put it in a lot of the promotional write-ups. What that means is a lot of the cards in here are going to devour things. And I am going to show you one of these cards because it's the main way that this is going to happen. All right, and there's quite a few of these. They're going to show up fairly frequently, and you'll be dealing with this card. So this card right here is called Reality Acid. It's a very simple card. It's going to say Revelation, subject Blob, devours a random aspect of reality. Reveal 2 random chaos tokens, and then consult pages 16 through 19 of the rules to determine what is devoured. We go to this book, and there is a whole bunch of pages here, which I'll give you a glimpse of. Those are all going to list 2 icon combinations from the chaos pack, and it'll devour something. A token, a card, a location, something. And some of them are very dumb, stupid things. Like one of them says it devours your cell phone, which is not even, it's anachronistic and obviously just silly, okay? So some things will be stupid like that, but generally it'll be things in the game to make things harder. So that's what's going on in the theme here and the setting. Trying to take this monstrosity down, try to keep everything at bay while you go through an evolving, but somewhat cyclical again, story. I'm not going to go much more into it than that. Hopefully, I haven't shown you anything you wouldn't have seen in the first couple of minutes of the game anyway. And we're going to go ahead and go back up top, and I'm going to give you some final thoughts. Alright, so that's the Blob that ate everything. I tend to be a big fan of these scenario packs, these sort of standalone, one-shot ideas. I have tried, not with this set, mind you, but I have tried Epic Multiplayer Mode. I did it with Labyrinths of Lunacy. And while I can appreciate what a weird and interesting concept it is definitely not my preferred way to play. It is massive, it's very long, it can be very convoluted, and there's a lot to keep track of, a lot going on in those games. So that is an event, which is definitely how it's meant to be treated. But really its own thing, and I'm just not that interested in tackling the game that way. So as far as this scenario pack goes, what do I think of it? Kind of where does it land for me? Well, let's break it down. All right, starting at the top with the theme and the setting, and that kind of wavered on this one. Because I really like the alien thing. I love the whole Blob from outer space consuming things, devouring this and that and the other thing, and that's very cool. And if they had kept it to just that and made that thematic and made that interesting and set that in the world of Arkham, you know what I mean in 1 second, then I would have really enjoyed the theme a lot more. They are doing a lot of things in here that they cannot and would not do it in more of a main release for the game. And I really appreciate that. They can use these opportunities to do weird stuff. What I don't like as much when it comes to the theme is, well, they're trying for a lot of comedy here. So there's a lot of goofy things. This feels a little bit like when Fantasy Flight Games puts out one of those jokey products sometimes, come April Fool's Day or something like that, or just sort of something a little sillier. This is a little sillier. And I also didn't really like, and I found it sort of groan-worthy, when some of the things that the Blob devours are just nonsensical. I'm guessing they ran out of things for the Blob to effectively eat that would both be in-game thematic and interesting to do. I guess they just didn't have that many combinations. But when the Blob is eating stupid stuff, like your cell phone, or one of them is like the storage to your Arkham Horror game, or the deck holder, or something dumb like that, then I just have to roll my eyes at that. I really didn't like that. I wish they would have kept it in world, kept it non-anachronistic, kept it tying me into what's going on. And yes, absolutely, the Blob should steal my emotions and steal my artifacts, and weapons are gone, and abilities, and whatever you want to do. They got pretty crazy, and I don't have any problem with that. But then when they did dumb stuff that was sort of just meaningless, like, haha, nothing happens. I would rather get a nothing happens than it steals my cell phone. That doesn't even make any sense, And again, I get that that's what they were going for, the silly, jovial, goofy thing. I didn't personally find it funny, though. I just found it cringy. So, I really wanted to give this one a thumbs up in theme, because I do like what's the setting and the theme generally, but the way it's handled I didn't really like. So, aesthetics. I think the aesthetics are lovely, if very repetitive. There's a lot of Blob green in these cards. Every card features that color, that one greenish blob color, it seems. But the game is manufactured well. Cards are good quality, of course, just like everything else that they've put out, at least with these nicely produced scenario packs. I'm not talking old school ones. Yeah, it's a good looking set. It's and again, they get to do things here they don't do in other more specific or mainstream releases. I guess that's the best way I can put it. The main cycles. So I do like that. I like what's going on there. The replay value, I also think, is pretty good. There's some side missions that come up, and they will be random from game to game, which ones come up, and the thing that it talks about, the thing you need to do. I like all of that. It does get easier after the first play, but it is very difficult. This is a punishing, difficult scenario. Once you've played and you know what's coming, then you can be in a specific location together. You can prepare for some things. But the first time you go through it, you'll be like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that. I guess we'll do the best we can right now. The game arc. The game has an interesting internal sort of rhythm to it, that cyclical nature. If you are someone who really likes the forward momentum of Arkham Horror, the card game, I don't know if you're going to love this idea of this cycle that this game presents, in which they're like, okay, you got a turn coming up, you got a big turn coming up, okay, go. Turns over. How well did you do? You did okay? Well, wait for the next time for this thing to come around. Here it goes. Just deal, survive for a little bit. It's coming soon. Okay, here it comes. Do it, attack. So that can be, it kind of doesn't feel like forward momentum is what I'm saying. You might like it, and it is neat, it works well. If you like the globe trotting, or at least you like that sort of like, you did this thing, you found this person, here's the next part of the story. Now you did this thing, here's the next part of the story. And that's how you like your act deck to go. This one doesn't do that, all right? The ease of play. There's a decent amount of bookkeeping in this one, okay? It'll get better with repeat plays, just like other things, but there's a lot going on, and it's very easy to miss triggers in this game. There's a lot of at the end of the turn, at the beginning of the turn type stuff. So just be aware of that. And then lastly, tactics, luck, strategy. Yeah, it's good. There's plenty to keep you busy here. I think when you come back to the game, I think that first play is going to be very exploratory. If you play again, then keep coming back to it, you'll be better prepared. Though it loses that theme and that surprise from the first time. But you will be better prepared to win it. And then you will hopefully draw different story chapters or what have you, so that you're not seeing the same things over and over. And I do like that. The choices you are making in it are interesting. You know, you have to plan, stay mobile, stay collecting clues, and stay strong. All those things and how you react to that is, of course, a big part of the game. This game is always very tactical and engaging, and this one is no different, okay? So having said all of that, the Blob That Ate Everything is a weird and bizarre side quest of a game, or of a scenario, I should say. It doesn't quite fit as well as some of the other scenario packs fit into what Arkham does, and does well, especially for me. The setting, the doom and gloom, the interesting world locales, Carnival of Horrors and where that took you, you know, the Guardians of the Abyss and where that took you. This one takes you to a really neat place and then just sort of pulls faces at you and goes like, look at this. And I was a little let down by that. Actually, I was very let down by that. I really don't like the goofiness with which they tackled it. I know it's a goofy game, and I know this is a goofy theme. But if you're not going to buy into it, if you're not going to tell me the story as though I'm supposed to be believing in the story and my investigator is struggling and all this, then I feel removed from it a little bit. I hate just, you know, this is very cinematic, but just like when a movie has a moment that feels ill-timed, a joke that is badly placed, and it pulls you out of it, and you were like, oh, that was just such and such actor having a gag moment there, just being like, again, kind of winking at the camera. This game, I find, winks at the camera. I don't want it to do it really at all, honestly, but it does it way too much for me. So while I still like it, I still think it's well put together, if challenging and interesting and a cool setting, it is certainly not my favorite scenario pack, and it's one that I would recommend much later. Or, if you really do like this idea of it being silly, not taking itself seriously. If you are someone who does enjoy that, then I think you're really going to like this one, you know? It's just, for me, it's not really why I'm playing Arkham, you know what I mean? So, there you go. But still, I do like it. I am going to recommend it. I think it's done well. This is going to get a 7 out of 10 from me. That is still a seal of approval, mind you. It's just that things for this game, for me, tend to rank 8, 9 often, and maybe 10 often, you know? So I really, really like this game. And this is one of the products that I'm a little cool on, all right? So there you go, 7 out of 10 from me. That's going to do it, folks. The Blob That Ate Everything. My name is Z Garcia. I'm going to see you on the next one.